Welcome back for another video. The Roundup is a series on this channel that arms you with useful information to take into each game week to arrive at better decisions. This includes the top players for predicted points, the Bookies odds, transfer trends and more. An accumulation of smaller but correct decisions can have a significant impact on your rank over the course of the season. Just before we jump in, today's video is sponsored by Spitch, which is a free app on both iOS and Android. A link to the app's at the top of the description. Spitch complements FPL very well. You create a lineup within the budget and you score points based on how they do. What sets it apart is you pick a fresh team every game week, almost like having a wildcard every week, and on top of that you can win cash prizes. You can even join mid-game week, so if you miss the early kickoff you're fine. I love the concept as it's a lot more fun than putting a bet on a game. However, since you can play for money, it's 18 plus only. It also supports the channel, so give it a try and see what you think. Thank you again to Spitch. To download the app, simply hit the link at the top of the description. Enjoy the video. We'll start with the Goalscorer Odds, which are always based on the assumption that a player starts, and this is sometimes not the case. Bookies odds are not available for both fixtures yet, so we've used FPL Review's algorithm, and it's Lukaku who's on top with 68% chance of scoring any time in Chelsea's double. The caveat of Lukaku is his lack of assured minutes. It's a big punt and one you'd probably only consider on a free hit or if you're wildcarding immediately after in Gameweek28. Jimenez is second with a 62% chance, however he was benched last game and therefore the certainty of his minutes are unclear. That said, they lost their last game where he was restricted to 9 minutes off the bench, and Wolves have a very strong double game week, so he's still an option. Despite a single game week, Salah makes the top 10 with a 53% chance of scoring. Many of us have been burned by captaining the likes of King, Dennis and Weghorst purely because they doubled, where we would have otherwise been better off going with a single game week premium. This game week there certainly is some better options than those three, though you wonder if Salah is worth considering for his home fixture to West Ham. At the end of the video we'll run through the captain poll results. Rafinha and Broja are also among the top for Goalscorer Odds. It will be the first games in the post-Bielsa era for Leeds. We don't know what effect his departure will have had on the players. It's very possible that he had a strong relationship with some players who will be upset by his departure, but we might also see a new manager bounce, which is often the case. Broja was rested in Southampton's League Cup fixture and he came off the bench with an impact, scoring in their win against West Ham. Surprisingly, he makes the top 10 but Adams doesn't, but they're both great assets to have for this double. Onto the clean sheet odds, and it's Chelsea who lead comfortably with a 76.5% chance of keeping a clean sheet in their double. Reece James is the high ceiling pick, but he's only back from injury recently. Tuchel said that it was recommended to only give him 20 minutes in the League Cup final, but Azpilicueta was withdrawn in the first half, which meant James played considerably more than he should have. He also got 15 or so minutes off the bench in the League Cup, so it's very likely he starts one of the two in the double, but perhaps not both. If you're looking for a safer pick, then Rudiger's the man who's nailed at the back. Wolves have a 66% chance of a clean sheet, and they've got a lot of great options in defence too. Saiz, Kilman, Cody, all great value picks to bring in, and likewise Sarr if you want a goalkeeper. Wolves don't blank in Gameweek 30, which is appealing if you don't plan to free hit in 30. Southampton and Aston Villa also have great options. Walker-Peters has been excellent recently, and the Saints are in great form. However, Hasenhüttl said in his latest press conference that he had a little problem with his hamstring. Digne is the standout option in the Villa defence. He's taken some set pieces and he carries plenty of attacking threat. Liverpool, Arsenal and Newcastle are all tied with a 45% chance. Newcastle have a double game week too, and they have the back-to-back double game weeks in 28 and 29. So you could consider one player, perhaps Dubravka for 4.4 mil, who is the standout as the defender spots are in high demand between Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal and Wolves players particularly. Norwich and Brentford are in a slump at the moment, both picking up a single point in their last 4, and they face one another this game week. Brentford are fairly unlikely to have any double game weeks for the remainder of the season. Rock bottom this game week is West Ham with a 9.5% chance of keeping a clean sheet at Anfield. Man United are close behind with a 12% chance who travel to the Etihad to face Man City. Onto the predicted points, and Lukaku's in front with 10.8 predicted points. The algorithm has Lukaku starting both games, which is why he's got the highest predicted points. He started the last 4 in a row and completed the 90 in all but one, so it's possible. However, if he were to reduce his expected minutes to 100 across both games, then he's on about 7 predicted points, which is something to bear in mind. Rafinha is second, who's certainly a player we can trust more to get plenty of minutes with 9.5 predicted points. He's a genuine option for captaincy. 6 points for Leeds here would be absolutely massive in their hopes to turn the season around and stay up. Jimenez and Rudiger are tied on 9.1 predicted points, and they also provide a couple of great captaincy options. Rudiger's a lower ceiling pick, but he does have 2 goals and 3 assists this season, so he carries threat on set pieces. Mount looks an outstanding pick if he starts both games. He didn't play in Chelsea's 1-0 win against Crystal Palace, but he started in their FA Cup win. so it's a gamble for captaincy, but he did score 24 points in the reverse fixture against Norwich earlier in the season, which is the highest score this season from a single game, joint with Salah, who also got 24 points that game week. Coutinho is also a reasonable captain option. The second of Villa's double is against Leeds. When they played one another in Gameweek 23, Coutinho scored and got 2 assists for a 16-pointer. He's played 6 games and in total has an expected assists of 0.3 but an expected goals of 1.38, which suggests he's more reliable for goals, which is good for FPL owners. Elsewhere, Ward-Prowse, Sarr and Thiago Silva all make the list and they are great picks. You wonder whether Thiago Silva could be rotated for one game when the fixtures are as condensed as this. He's 37 now and we have seen him rotated before in midweek games, but it could also be dependent on the availability of Christensen, who has been out. On to the most transferred in players, and it's Salah who's on top. Despite the single game week, he's a player you definitely want in your team, particularly for double game week 29. Over 230,000 have brought in Salah, followed by Adams, who's on 183,000 transfers in. The Southampton appeal is reduced after their FA Cup win against West Ham, as it does mean they're blank in game week 30, but Adams, Broja, Ward-Prowse and Livramento are all great picks still for this double. Kane has been picked up by 117,000 managers, and following their defeat to Middlesbrough, they went blank in game week 30 and they have a double in 29. Willock's an intriguing differential who's been picked up by just over 100,000 managers. He's got 2 goals and an assist in his last 3, and Newcastle have back-to-back doubles. Therefore he carries plenty of points potential over the next 2 game weeks. Elsewhere, Coutinho and Sarr make the list, who are fantastic options as we saw on the predicted points. Let's take a look at the most transferred out players, and Bowen's top with 157,000 managers dropping him. West Ham do face Liverpool this week, though they don't blank in game week 30, so the next few game weeks are a juggling act if you're not free hitting in game week 30. His teammate Antonio is the second most transferred out with 133k dropping him. There's so many great options for double game week 28 and 29 that these two could be switched to in a similar price range, so no surprises to see them sold. Or likewise Fernandes and Ronaldo, who are not representing value at their prices, and this week they face Man City. 105,000 have dropped St Maximin, and it's a shame he's likely not to be back for this double, as he would have been a brilliant pick for their back-to-back doubles. Jota on the other hand is back from injury, but he's been dropped by 100,000 managers. At this point, unless you have plans to sell him but still be tripled up on Liverpool in game week 29, then it's probably sensible to just keep hold. Liverpool are too good not to be tripled up on in the double game week. 86,000 managers couldn't wait to get rid of Weghorst, who disappointed many of us with his 3-pointer in their last double game week. We'll finish the roundup as always with the captaincy poll results. Thanks to everyone who voted on the poll on our Discord. If you'd like to join, a link's in the description. The results are in and they are as follows. Despite a single game week, Salah's top, getting 37.4% of your vote. In isolation, it's such a fantastic fixture. West Ham have been average defensively, and Liverpool play their first game after winning the League Cup. Everything points towards it being a good game for Salah, however there are so many good alternative options too. Coutinho is second with 26.7% of the vote, followed by Rafinha on 9.8%. Coutinho looks the more explosive between the two, but Rafinha has the higher predicted points. This season Rafinha has not hit double-digit points in any game week, which is one thing to consider, and if you split his season up into game week pairs, only once has he hit double-digit points, which was 16 points across game week 5 and game week 6. Rudiger gets just 5.1% of the vote, but he looks like a genuine option to consider, particularly if you're looking for a safer option for points. Elsewhere it's very divided between Jimenez, Mount and Son. A few votes for Adams, Broja, Saiss and Kane. 7.2% voted for other. That concludes this Game Week's episode of the Roundup. Thanks for watching. If you found it useful, please hit like to support the channel and hit subscribe if you're new. I read every comment, so as always I'm keen to hear your thoughts.